Just a little bit about Merkle. I'll give you one slide on Merkle, and then I'll jump into my content here. So we're the largest privately held marketing agency in the world. So about 3,000 employees now across US, Europe, and Asia. We have, earlier it was talking about kind of that new breed of agency and the blending of those skill sets. And so we have a large-scale technology business doing marketing technology, systems integration, and data management, about 1,000 people there. We've got a large-scale consulting organization, about 100 people in that group. We've got a data and analytics organization with about 300 higher degreed statisticians on staff. And then we have a digital media agency and creative business of about 1,000 people. So you put those things together in the convergence of what we're seeing today, and we think that that's kind of the future of marketing, and that's the future of what we think the agency business needs to look like. So a lot of my themes are going to be similar to some of the things that you've already heard. We're seeing these tremendous macro trends in the marketplace. So obviously cross-device and social networks at scale and mobility are things that have already been talking about. And consumers are reacting to all of these things, changing their consumption patterns, one-to-one engagement at a huge level of scale. And marketers are trying to react, and they're trying to react by trying to put the customer at the center of their business model. They're trying to react by activating their first-party customer data into interactions with individuals. And they're buying marketing technology at a ferocious pace right now. I really think when we think about revolutions in marketing, there were three kind of revolutions that really stick out to me. The first was really this brand revolution, right, that really leveraged the major platform of national television and radio to really build global brands. And companies like Marlboro and Budweiser and Tide put hundreds of companies out of business by learning how to use that platform. And then we all lived through the 90s and saw the channel revolution really took place. And unfortunately we had Blockbuster as a customer, and we saw what Netflix did to them. And you think about all of the travel agents that used to be on every corner that are no longer there because of people like Expedia. And now we believe we're really in the age of the customer, which is this next generation. And it's really being fueled by this opportunity of addressability and people-based marketing that was just discussed by Facebook. We've seen addressability at scale actually create competitive advantage in the past for organizations. So, in the United States, for example, companies like Capital One, a major credit card company, DirecTV, a national kind of satellite television company, Geico, a major advertiser or a major company in the insurance space, used the United States Postal Service as a competitive addressable platform. And direct marketing in the United States grew to a $65 billion industry. We saw it in the telemarketing revolution, where major telemarketing was done to extend the reach of telecommunications companies. We saw it in email. We continue to see it in email. Imagine being a retailer with 10% coverage of emails on your file, and your biggest competitor has 90% coverage of emails on their file, right? True competitive advantage. And then we just saw, in the past 4 years, really with the advent of the exchanges and programmatic media buying, this addressable kind of cookie-based marketing. And today, I think, we're really in people-based marketing and people-based marketing at scale. And that's really where Facebook's going with custom audiences. That's where Twitter's going with tailored audiences. And then hopefully you all saw last week that Google announced its Customer Match product. And I think when Google starts to open up their platform more broadly to people-based marketing, you're going to see the scale of this thing in conjunction with those other major players be significant. And it was mentioned the publishers as well. The publishers are starting to say, I've got huge subscriber bases. How do I bring those into the digital world and make those addressable? The key for marketers is really going to be about how do I activate my first-party identified customer data into these interaction points onto these platforms. It's really kind of expanding what we used to call the mid-funnel. So the mid-funnel of marketing used to be really about CRM. It used to be about telemarketing and email and direct mail. But because the targeting is extending way up into the top of the funnel, and because technology is enabling more personalization at the bottom or at the website, that mid-funnel is really expanding, and that journey, which was already talked about, is happening across device and not in a linear fashion that it used to. But the key will be really connecting the data to that journey to make that experience a true data-driven, performance-based experience. At Merkle, we kind of talk about these 3 C's actually. Context, which is really kind of what do you understand about an individual, right? So what do you know about them? Content, a lot of talk already about creative, which is, okay, great, it's great that I can target, but how do I be really relevant in that experience with that individual, right? So and then connectivity is we're living in a real-time world. How am I going to bring that kind of identity and that context together with that content to create the experience for the individual that I'm trying to drive? And nobody's there. I mean, the maturity here is so low. This is a pretty confusing slide, so I'm not going to walk you through it, but most people are just starting to build out the skill sets right now. They're not really delivering these really integrated journeys across device, across platforms, but I think that that's what we're all trying to evolve to and trying to evolve up this maturity curve to really create a customer-centric marketing organization for advertisers. And the technology stack is a huge foundation to this success. And you look at a chart like this and you go, man, it's daunting, right? And we deal with a lot of big brands trying to systems integrate all of their marketing technology for them. And it's hard. It's hard. I can simplify it for you a little bit, which is really, at the bottom, it's about this data management layer. Or how do I get all my data together as a marketer so that I can market to individuals? In the middle, it's really about how do I gain insights, targeting, and measurements and orchestration around my analytics so that I can drive up to the top to these addressable programs where I attach all that insights actually to, whether it's the display ad or the video ad or my Google search or my addressable television commercial. How do I connect the bottom technologies into those technologies that allow me to deploy the programs? Help is on the way, though. I mean, we've all seen these LumaScape slides. I think it's in everybody's presentation, usually. But help is on the way as the market really kind of consolidates around technology. Billions and billions of dollars have been spent on marketing technology, billions of dollars invested. You look at Silicon Valley, some of the smartest people in the world, and everybody's working on how to make somebody click. And it's kind of amazing what's happening in the investment in technology. And thousands of these players won't be here, but the innovation that they created by being here is going to be really beneficial to the marketing community. So, as I said, help is on the way through market consolidation and key partnerships. We're starting to see the combination of really traditional marketing technology and ad technology, and the players on the right in these areas are doing it. But you're also seeing really creative partnerships. 2 weeks ago, Media Math, which is a large-scale DSP, announced a relationship with Oracle, combining marketing tech and ad tech. So combination of consolidation by some of these major players as well as some really smart partnerships, starting to make it easier for marketers to connect marketing and ad tech and deliver against some of this promise. But the challenge is, and I'll use Justin Bieber as your 27-year-old kind of media buyer at your typical agency, right? They just don't have all of the skill sets that they really need, right? I've got to orchestrate this journey across all of these touch points. I've got to understand all this technology. I've got to understand logistical regression modeling. I got to understand identity. Not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen, right? So, the key is that we really need to, operate in this new marketing world, and we call it, under the competencies of the new platform marketer, right? And no one individual is going to be a platform marketer. But as a marketing organization, I think you really need to start to think about, do I have all the competencies that I need within my organization to be successful in this new world? And so in all of your bags, you all have a copy of a book that myself and our Chief Strategy Officer wrote called The Rise of the Platform Marketer. So now you and my mom have that book. So hopefully you give it a read. But when you then start to just say, okay, think about what I talked about, right? It's really this convergence of technology, the right services, and the right skill sets in order to execute in this world. And so, I think people are going to have to really think about, rationalizing their supply chain. Rationalizing their supply chain within their own organizations. How's my organization structured? I can't structure by silo anymore. These people compensated these ways against these media. These people compensated these ways against these media. Teams not working together. So they got to think about rationalizing their own organizations. They got to think about rationalizing their agency relationships. Who can have all of these competencies they need to really operate in that mid-funnel that I talked about earlier. And then, they need to rationalize that technology stack that's actually going to, enable all of this. So, I don't have the cute kids, kind of finish, which is very good finish usually. But, the question is, are you going to be the turtle or are you going to be the rabbit here? We really do believe that people who really get this and get the world of the platform marketer and of addressable marketing will create huge competitive advantage just the way that those major brands did in the past two revolutions of marketing that we talked about.